I guess it's too much to hope for that there will actually be great Xbox news week to week to week. There always seems to be something super negative. And hey, who am I to deny the dozens of people that decide to watch my videos? The idea is to kind of showcase all bits of news, whether it be good or perceived bad. And this, I think, is probably something that's a little bit more perceived, a little bit worse. You would maybe hope for better news from Microsoft and from developers, kind of bashing the Xbox. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me personally, but definitely worthwhile kind of talking about to make sure that everybody kind of understands what's going on behind the scenes. And maybe this is a big deal, maybe it's not. I think we'll have to kind of wait and see on that particular thing. But I thought this was interesting nonetheless, so I wanted to do a video on it and kind of talk about it, because there's developers coming out and talking about Xbox now, and there's the whole article is talking about something that Xbox said that I thought was pretty interesting. So a lot of people don't like the Xbox Series S for whatever reason. Maybe it's because it's a budget console. Obviously, I think that the person that is interested in the Series S may be a new customer, which has been confirmed that over half the people that own a Series S are new customers to Xbox. But it's also, I think it's great for people that just don't give a damn about resolution and things like that. People that maybe, you know, have budgetary constraints and certain issues like that, I think, as well. The Series S might be a great deal for gamers, but according to this, developers, it's not as much of a great deal. This cheaper hardware doesn't just keep its price down by omitting a disk drive, by also compromising performance and giving devs less to work with. Despite the headaches, Xbox has no plans to ditch the budget console. Speaking after the Xbox Game Showcase, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booties makes it clear that the company won't allow devs to skip the Series S and launch exclusively on the Series X instead. He says these issues can be avoided if developers plan better, suggesting that the performance of games on consoles will improve with experience. Is it more work? Sure, says Booty, speaking with Axios about the troubles devs faced while developing for the Series S with the Series X. He goes on to say that devs should find it easier once they've moved on to their second game for the platform, since they can plan better, knowing that there some of the sharp corners are. This comes as many games do not run or do run on the Series S often struggle to reach 60 frames at launch, even with reduced visuals. Often we're seeing 60 frames added further down the line and never in a joint frame rate visual mode like Series X players enjoy. However, sometimes sacrificing visuals or frame rate isn't enough. Like recently, Baldur's Gate 3 developer revealed that the Xbox launch date hadn't been confirmed yet because they couldn't guarantee an adequate performance on Series S, which is a requirement for launching on Series X. And I quote, "We've been unable to get split-screen co-op to work to the same standard on both Xbox Series X and S, which is a requirement for us to ship," which was speaking to the gamer back in February. "We have no exclusivity for which platforms can bring Baldur's Gate 3 to or when, and we'll announce support for additional platforms if and when we're ready." The spokesman went on to say that the news of an Xbox port will come when the team is certain that these issues have been addressed. Yet, given Booty's statement and Xbox's ongoing strategy, it definitely seems unlikely that the industry giant will make any further concessions. At the Xbox Game Showcase, Phil Spencer unveiled yet another Xbox model, but it's not as powerful as the Series X, let alone surpassing it. Instead, it plays games at the same quality as the Series S, but doubles the amount of storage space. Xbox also isn't working on a next-gen equivalent of the Xbox Series X anytime soon, so it certainly seems like developers will have to continue navigating around the Series S specs, which, again, I don't really think it's as negative as a lot of the developers have been saying. I actually think that what Microsoft is doing is very smart. It allows for gamers to be able to have, an option. And I think that that's incredibly smart. People keep saying, oh, well, it's going to, at some point, they're going to have to do this, or at some point, they're going to fail. At some point, it's this, or this. I think, you squeeze all you can out of these platforms, and the Series S is no different. And a lot of people keep trying to turn this into like a hyper negative, which I don't understand. I mean, obviously, you can go back to even the PS3 era. It was very difficult, way more difficult probably to develop for than the Series S. And same thing with the Xbox One. If you go back to the Xbox 360, it was incredibly easy to develop for. That's why Microsoft got so many, actually they got a lot of third-party exclusives The same way that the issues with the PS3 were, is the some of the issues that we see with the Series S to a lesser degree. You even saw some issues like Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Those weren't something that Microsoft paid for. Those were just games that ended up being exclusive simply because Microsoft had easier to develop for, and at the time, Valve hated the PS3. So, it's one of those things that you kind of look at it and you go, oh, well, this is sort of a strange development. So many developers are kind of really hating on this Xbox Series S, and again, they sit there and they'll make a game that's scalable on a PC that's basically a potato, and that's fine and dandy. But when you got to do something for a Series S, people start to get in their feelings about it. And I can understand some of the smaller studios having issues. Again, Microsoft maybe should do a better job with, if they need to send some developers or if they need to send engineers to help out, which is what they did with the Xbox One sometimes, right? If you can remember, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but there was a time when I think it was Diablo 3, and it was only running 900p at a particular point on Xbox One, and it was 1080p on the PS4, and this was when Ps were all the rage, right? And it was announced like that, and next thing you know, Phil Spencer sent a team of engineers to go help them out with that, and they ended up getting it up to 1080p. And there were other instances too. You just look at like GTA 5, when that was running on Xbox One. It was lower at first. Same thing with Destiny, and people were like, "Oh man, 900p on Xbox One, and it's 1080p on the PS5 4 or whatever." And all those things ended up getting up to par. Thanks to that, you have to be able to kind of send people to go help out with that, and I think that that's what Microsoft, if that's what they have to do, then that's what they have to do. I think the Xbox Series S is a great thing. I think it's awesome that it allows so many people to kind of jump into the next generation without having to pay, $600 up front. And people don't realize that, and I get that, oh, well, if you're struggling to play games, maybe you should have other concerns anyway. And I get that too. But I just think that, especially like even in my instance, right? Like every kid in the household has a Series S, there's so many different things that I could say. Like, well, growing up, my parents were never able to afford a new console that was new at the time, for us, me and my brothers. It was always, we got it a couple years later or what have you. And it's cool that was able to get, the older kids that same year that it launched, and then the younger ones, they got into video games not too long ago, and it was able to, I think I picked up one for the youngest last Christmas, and it was like $199 or something. That's huge, and he loves it. He plays it all the time. He sees the YouTubers playing the stuff. He likes to play Minecraft or run around Fortnite or whatever, and I think that's awesome, and it gives people a chance to do that without having to break the bank. And same thing with Game Pass. And I like the fact that Microsoft is very conscious of these types of people, and it really helps out a lot. So when you see developers that think that, oh, they should scrap that or not ship games to it, well, you know what, listen, you still spent money on this thing, so don't ship games to it. Get out of here. Like, I don't care if it's 30 frames or whatever. I think that's fine, but it's like when you have developers saying don't ship games on it, I think it's ridiculous. So anyway, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I'll link the article. Let me know. Rack 'em up. This is Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews. Thanks to the few of you that are going to watch this anyway. Crap Gamer out.